Welcome back to my lovely IHP community and the 5D collective. To those of you who tuned in to our shorts, you have the gist of it. At the same time, I have a change of plans for the content and how it will be released, so you can expect this one right now to be a late IHP show. And that is with the focus of what you will then hear about when we have the other episodes live. I'm pretty sure it'll be tomorrow, but stay tuned. So subscribe. In the meantime, yes, here's a 5D mystic and the embodiment of the feminine, which is really fun. So vulnerability in relationships and love is on the menu because self-aware tuning and regulating people and 5D mystics. We are life partners and we have the most romantic of relationships because we don't have humbug. That's because of knowing how to actively use mindfulness practices, mindset skills, and mindset with the inner growth of a whole sense of self. So whole inner child, uncharged, and you are rumbling and rolling with the emotional plane. So your emotional plane is something that you see, and as an inner self, you also know you have a relational self when you're with others. But because you see yourself, you soothe, you safe, you secure, and that means you're curious to be your true self with others. You're not going to take rejection as protection. You know about radically accepting yourself, and you know that when you rise above the fray, every human being has a heart. I have a 1-year-old, 3-year-old, so my heart will be sad when we don't connect. But by having, in my case, thank you God, Jesus, Holy Spirit, Akash, universe, as a feminine and mystic in my case, 5D, Christ consciousness was not hard to keep, and nor was my integrity. And so my flaws stayed with me, and so did being Maria as her whole self. So you don't lose your heart when you are a person who continues to choose expansion of self and to keep thoughts, emotions as thoughts, emotions, and mindfully live and be yourself, which is what we talk about in those other episodes in different ways. And I give you all that attachment trauma data. Okay, so heart chakra opening, unlocking generosity. These are messages for my lovely 5D collective as well, which is why in those other episodes, again, there's an integrated bunch of similar stuff, but no more shields, so you know how to be open-hearted, and you actively don't need to protect yourself because you don't think of love as hard. You know, love and vulnerability is actively the most amazing of things that can happen because, again, you're curious about people. You don't need a beginning or end. Your third eye. You have the vertical and bilateral integration, and you own your own jaguar. The jaguar is never prey in the Amazon. That's because she, like an inner child adult, is never prey to somebody else's nervous system. My inner self is differentiated. So when my guitar string comes near you, I'm beloved and so are you. And so I'm going to be present, attuned. I'm going to resonate with you. And then we're going to rattle, shake, rattle, and roll. And we're going to trust. If we're trusting together, lightning, we're going to develop what is the circle of life, a relationship, human one, right? And with the owl who sees clearly, we also speak clearly. And if we have any type of confrontation, shit go down, hey Eric, I have a tail, I don't like a tail, really? We won't feel it as a curse when you're empowered and enlightened. Mindfully being yourself spiritually. The empowered embodied feminine doesn't lose her fire, but she has her adolescent essence because she also has her inner child, the 1-year-old and 3-year-old, so they don't get broken. Wild thing, da-na-na-na. You make your heart sing, so your heart does go through transformation. And although the 4D talks about it as tragedy, what I can tell you all is that pisses the fuck off of a 5D mystic because it's not tragedy. So it's actively a transformative moment that you will know of if you're feminine and a mystic, and you will know thanks to your oversoul. This is where we don't just have twin flame or flames or soulmates. So you just don't lose your soul. I'm laughing because the story of those 4D keeps getting better and better. No, it doesn't. But soul is what stays because you stay a whole self. That's where the embodied, empowered feminine will not lose sight of that which is unconditional love, of that which is God, free will, and the pureness of every soul, anima mundi, when they get back in touch with their own, the circle of life. So when a person heals from trauma, they will know of who they truly are. Until then, we're really dealing with a past self. So we're not going to do anything mean, because it's not Lucifer. It's a person who doesn't own their heart or mind or body. And they don't actively know what it's like to be in awe and wonder with who they are, with their flaws and imperfections. They don't know the breath when it's taken away by a sacred force that surrounds you and asks for nothing in return. They don't know their birthright, integration, restorative embodiment, safety, nervous system. So whenever Stephen Porges talks, he lets us know about how a person will have one of two ways that they will respond to a state of safe human being: a healthy self-worth feminine and a healthy self-worth masculine, who will then be a feminine of himself, by the way, because we have feminine and masculine. Okay, so the way is either I welcome you because I welcome me, and therefore we're going to have a good time. I love to love, and my baby, he loves to dance, and he loves to live, and he loves to love, and he loves to laugh, and he loves to learn with me. So we're gonna be in good company. That's why. Till death do part, sickness and in health is not something that doesn't mean anything for those of us who know how easy it is to say I do. But I do by being you, and me being me means that I have the capacity to hold my emotional, mental, and physical sense of safety in the minute that we begin to engage in something that ruptures or splinters come about. Now, Terry Real is a great therapist for people who need support. And there's plenty of couples out there who need Terry Real, as well as Patrick Tiahan. I'm here with people who don't need either or, and what furthermore we are looking at is being yourself mindfully, spiritually, with the capacity to deal with unknowns, uncertainties, and unwanteds from within with an open heart while going with the flow. Whether you are from the mystic group of our spirituality community or the mindfulness group, okay? So I just want you to understand self-empowerment is where it's not tragedy for my body, my embodied brain, to feel and think and then be able to give love a opportunity. That's what you end up hearing. If those episodes that I had prepared for you all will be live at some point, okay? And so you will say yes. Even if you might not be 100% sure of what you're going to get yourself into, a embodied, empowered, healthy, self-worth person, feminine, in this case, mystic, you will say yes to love, to the opportunity, because the risk is worth it, because it's why not? Okay, so the only ones who don't do it this way are the same ones who could use Terry Real. And when in couples, they find themselves losing that energy. So they don't know that love anchors in the truth because it is clear of pain, because it accepts all and rejects none. That the living soul of the world in all its multifaceted, multidimensional layers, bonded together by loving cosmic forces, knows all that is, and again accepts all and rejects none. And basically they don't know how to catch a falling star and put it in your pocket, never let it fade away. Catch a falling star and put it in your pocket, save it for a rainy day. But also use that star when things get tougher, because you'll have it ready for those moments. So the adolescent essence is your essential spark, which you keep with or without another human being. That's why you're internally securely attached. It's not going to mean that you don't love, to love, live, laugh, and no, it's going to mean you're an independent, empowered lover. That's why awe and wonder accompanies you. But for people who don't have this, they have the fear, and that's why therapists are good. And then for them to be healed, now they're ready to be in a relationship and to be lovers. And that's for real. So the ones who come from the end of the spectrum of masculines or distorted feminines, what I'm going to let you in is that they will be given the opportunity to unconditionally love, first of all, their own self, but also another person. And really, The feminine consistently knows that that's the opportunity being given because Jesus, God, and Holy Spirit. And that's for me how I know I won't say I love you and not mean it. That's also I know that any relationship that I've ever embarked on, I've not ever began it with thinking it's going to end. But I also didn't begin it with thinking you have to be the one. Well, the twin flame thing gets you in a different space because you will feel them the one. No, it's because of the bond. They're always there. You know, that this is the part I can explain it. And what I find fascinating is that people are creating things in order to give you the capacity to sense in virtual reality. And this is why the ones in the 4D and 3D community think of sciences as trying to replace our humanity and to replace soulness. And they can't replace that which is different, because that's where, for me, it's an energetic imprint. I will know the energetic imprint of that which comes from dark matter and dark energy, if you will, and that which was created in an effort to provide for a virtual reality game, which will have whatever, you know. And obviously this is where I'm just using words. But my point is that there's no fear for those of us who understand. You can't replicate pure consciousness, because each of us is a piece of it. And the way it works is something that God, Akash, that which is bigger than we will ever be, will know. And it's more like a mathematical equation, which an embodied, empowered feminine with blind faith doesn't need to translate. I don't need to decipher it. I don't have fear for what God or universe or Akash or whatever. Again, I don't have fear for what is in the unknown plane. In fact, I don't have fear because I hope an asteroid doesn't hit us. I don't have fear of my secondary consciousness. That's the embodied, empowered feminine who has a relationship as a channeler, downloader, and all more that I personally bring to you. So no person and no our oversoul members will be able to take anything away from any embodied feminine, because the whole point about that feminine is that I can be a feminine for anyone because I'm Maria. I'm a safe haven, secure base. And as a mystic, I know what I'm doing when I do this. I won't be capturing you. I'll be hugging you. It's two different stories. I'll be telling you that you're beautiful, and then I'll be working with you. And if you push me and do other shit, I'm going to be like, hey, what the fuck are you doing? Because I'm going to know how to consistently make sure that I'm protected first, because now you're getting to be uncomfortably uncomfortable for one reason or another. I won't be questioning any of universe or time. I'm not questioning shit. I'm going to actually be actively engaging. So virtual reality, FYI, what I think of that plane, it's for a bunch of people who don't know necessarily how to make the best of their human connection because they're afraid of humans. How many people don't go heal their trauma? They'd rather sense the virtual reality for real than to actively make an attempt at a relationship. I would not in a million years do virtual reality. So long story short, as a mystic, again, feminine, when I got the opportunity to allow relationship, open-heartedness to be something that I ventured off in without knowing anything, I said yes. And that's where the funny stories, so you'll hear about it all tomorrow and or when they get published. But vulnerability in relationships and love, feminine and masculine, empowered, they will always say yes. And it won't be virtual in the sense of a virtual reality. We will have platonic, meaningful connections, yes. We will also have meaningful connections with our entire oversoul, whether they are consistently in contact with us or not. That's why for the feminine it's really fun, at least the embodied, empowered ones. When we have those who are in our sphere but they're not emotionally, mentally, or physically independent, we learn how to allow ourselves to recalibrate where they're at and get them in their right space, because I'm a nurturer. I'm not capturing you, and I'm also not going to have a meshing or you filling with your energy, my sphere, because your energy is going to basically be off of frequency from my vibe if you're not vibing in unconditional love. And that's the part of where people who don't choose how to use their mind, brain, and body by learning how to be self-empowered, they're not actively wielding their own neuroplasticity in a way of using the bright sides. So they're using their imagination with an amygdala, they're using their threat response. So in their sphere of subconscious and conscious, what I get to perceive as a feminine who has tapped into this and beyond is their suffering, which is why in the years I learned simply how every year they do the same karma wheel. And eventually it's kind of like a callus. You'll know who they are, you won't even perceive them because they're just doing the same thing over and over and over again. In the meantime, you'll be connecting to those who are actively expanding, because that's who we're going to build, because the feminine is consistently expanding, because our relationship doesn't finish. As long as I'm breathing, I'm going to have a relationship. The masculines who are embodied, the empowered version of their self, they know, like my masculine friends, I've shared the stories. They know what a feminine is. They know what they are as a masculine. And we know what we do when we come together. Which is why a feminine is not concerned with capturing anyone, the empowered one. The ones who need the masculines, I'm going to leave that alone, because again, I'm not here for the ones who need somebody to feel loved. Your own, what is that? That you're only somebody if somebody loves you. Yes, the first person who needs to love themselves is you and all your child parts. Otherwise, you're gonna keep on being a flag in the wind. And all I have to do is watch who you're with, and then watch what's going on. I'm gonna know. So love is unconditional. Love is where we highlight that which we know we can bring the best, and then we highlight that which we spot as potential weaknesses, but we highlight them in a way of trying to support you to become better. Masculines have their manners, so sometimes a masculine will get a bit into a way. The feminine will accompany, observe, and as two pairs of nurturers and protectors coming from two ends of the spectrum, we're going to basically be nurturers and protectors together with the safety social engagement system. We're going to know how to be the ones who don't perpetuate transgenerational cultural trauma, as we don't use our hands unnecessarily, and actually we probably don't use them at all, especially today's conscientious parents, the ones who are in our 5D collective. But we also don't say yes to everything. We also know, yeah, sure, we want all to get trophies, but we also want them all to understand, wait a minute, we're giving trophies for participation, but we want to talk about skills. So, we want there to be the capacity for us to talk technical, and the ventral vagal no and the ventral vagal tone is the difference. Because, see, the difference is I know that you need me as a mammal to learn to self-regulate in your state of social engagement, safety as a child growing up. And a third attunement, thanks to the smart people, attachment trauma, I can explain this. A third attunement, repairing ruptures. But they found that allowing a little bit of distress is better than not. They've also found that the nervous system is different, or there's a bunch of other things to look at. So not everybody who experiences the same event will have trauma, because some of us will have a bigger window of tolerance. And in fact, we might have a window welcome to mental emotional experiences because we don't feel them as painful, because we use two sides of brain and are mindfully aware, and our insula is working just fine. There's a lot of ways I could explain it. So again, vulnerability in relationships and love. Feminine and masculines are lovely, self-aware, tuning and regulating people, and those who are life partners, and the most romantic of all, because we're always on and we're always ready to. I love to love, and my baby, he loves to laugh, and he loves to live, and he loves to learn and love, and all of it, and also to embody that which is pure consciousness and pure energy, to have a good time. And in this lifetime, again, we don't count the days, but obviously with the one who is the one, it will be, we are wanting safe haven, secure base, so we build a secure attachment relationship on purpose, which is why the till death do you part, sickness and in health, is not the words. It's two people who know how to love themselves first, and then say, I'm going to love you too. And, I'm not blue if you say no, but I really, really want to. So yeah, there's a whole other bunch of things I have to share with you all. But again, we'll talk about it soon enough. Meantime, thanks for stopping by. Like, share, and subscribe, and have a good one.